Calling all retro gamers.
Calling all retro gamers!
Calling all retro gamers!
Calling all
retro gamers!
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Calling All Retro Gamers, your semi-bi-weekly excuse to hang out with two dudes and talk retro. I'm one of your hosts, Rich, and we've got Ed.
Hey!
Retro Kill-9, the man of many names.
Trying to make that stick.
And we've got a loaded chat already here.
Yeah.
We got Pick and Duck. What's going on? He's talking about Tomb Raider and Duke Nukem and better vehicle combat and racing games. That sounds like some stuff to talk about after 10 o'clock right there.
Heck yeah.
We could talk about that. That's all right. We got iHeart Retro. What's going on? He says, yo, and then Joe, because knowing's half the battle. And then let's do this.
I was going to say, iHeart, so sorry that you missed my my brief hour stream earlier, but hey, you're here now, and that's
awesome. We got Mr. Shua. We got he's a double member.
Yes, that's
GTC true. And the Evercade Effect. We got Lloyd our Jim.
Woohoo!
That's GTC in the house right there. What's going on?
Yep.
What's going on?
Member
Amber, what's going on? Hello.
Yep,
welcome on in. You got all sorts of people coming in from the Evercade Effect. Yeah.
Yep.
We got Phantom Fiction. What's going on? Good evening. GTC in the house. In the house. Yep. Thanks for stopping by. Corny Puddle, what's up?
Is Corny also a member of your site, or just? I know Corny's a channel member of.
No, just on Evercade Effect. Just
on me. Cool.
New. Welcome on in.
Heck yeah.
Hello.
We do that. We recognize people that are members of each of our channels.
Yeah,
by the way.
Yeah. Did someone call Ian Hobbies?
Yes. He said he'd be here. The infamous. Remember, it's the infamous Ian Hobbies.
It is the infamous Ian Hobbies. What's going on? That's awesome. We
what
gotta
hilarious?
jump in chat.
What if we find out that like Ian Hobbies is like really Pete or something? Because he said he had like another secret channel that
another
no one
identity. Oh yeah, you're talking about Pete. Yeah.
Yeah.
He keeps saying he's got like 2 or 3 or whatever. He's a very mysterious man.
Or what if it was like really like Sean or Andrew from like Blaze or something?
what would it be like? Because Pete he's super good at the YouTubing, right? He really is.
You know what? I forget if it was Immortal or somebody said they thought that they found one of Pete's channels.
Well, yeah. So here's the thing, right? What if, right? These are just like super side channels, and really, Pete has like 2 million subscribers talking about like world history or something. You know what I mean? Like that's a secret channel. He's actually a full-time YouTuber, and he just does all these other videos, and this is just as fun. That would be crazy, right? That would be enormously hilarious.
I know. I wish that was
but also very cool. But I mean, it just amazes me. And you know what? Good, because his content is super good. And I lurk there, and I should actually like comment more and talk to Pete and do all that kind of stuff. But I miss the back in the day. I miss his old like just random retro stuff back in the OEB days. Because he would just do some crazy stuff talking about all sorts of fun things, and it was awesome. I miss the content and the I don't know the vitality of his channel from back then. But
my favorite thing that he did, it was called like the PM and the PM, where him and that other guy.
Yes, yeah, PM and the PM, yep. Yeah. Then actually, what was it? Somebody else in the Gamers United Guild actually just started a show right after he stopped. They took the name, but yes, it was Pete and Mike in the PM. Mike. Yeah. Oh man, Mike. I miss Mike.
It was great.
He's such a sarcastic guy. He was so funny.
Yes. Well, Pete.
I don't know where he is.
He would say like he was like, hey, well, you can't come on. You can't come on Evercast until you buy an Evercade, and then like Mike would say like how he loves Steam and loves everything digital, and he doesn't understand physical, and Pete would be like, no, physical. It was great. They would argue back.
It was awesome. That was a great show. Like I said, I mean he was like the quintessential host. He would find a good personality and then just bounce off them for like just a straight hour, and like I don't know, he just knows how to do it. But anyway, Ian Hobby's really Wade from Atari.
Hey, we have Eric here. Yeah, he was in my stream earlier.
Hey, what's up? What's going on?
It's cool to see. Yeah, it's cool to see people.
Very cool. Very cool. And then Amber saying, Phantasy Star is such a wonderful Sega classic. Yes, you'll be seeing a lot more of that very shortly as we get into our topics. Which grinding out another 20, no, a little less, about 15,000 Masitas is what we need to grind out in order to afford the next thing. So we're going to be doing some of that. Hopefully we can get to Dezoris. I want to get to those ice caverns, get through, get some cool stuff. We have to go to the desert planet first, though, and pick up the diamond shield for Alice. But anyway, good stuff. Good stuff coming on the way. But that was hilarious about Ian being Wade from Atari.
Yes.
He's just really the CEO of Atari, and he's just a big voice.
Yeah, I know, right?
That's hilarious. I want to say the very first one was on the Master System. It was. I beat it years ago. I was a kid last time I played. Nice. Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, I had a story about that, actually. It was one of the stories of the completion quest that we are on right now for Phantasy Star, where I explained that I was at Lassek's door. So 2 boss battles before the end of the game. I thought it was the final boss, but actually there is one more. But yeah, 2 boss battles before the end of the game. And my mom decided that day was the day to clean, and knocked into the Master System, resetting the cartridge and resetting all my saves. So, oh man, yes.
Cool.
I heard Retro finally got a Master System months ago, picking up games. Enjoy, sir. Enjoy. And then while you're at it, if you want to like look at some games and be like, hey, before I invest XYZ dollars into XYZ game, there are probably, what do you think, Ed? Like maybe 30, 40 Fun for Fives?
At least.
On the channel, on my channel over at Bacon Ice Cream Productions, where I do 5 minutes or more of most of the Master System games that were in my collection. And for those that are yet to be played, I have been getting them back from the depths of the river.
Heck yeah.
And cleaning them out and playing them. These will, as soon as I finish Phantasy Star, that kind of solidifies the Retron 5 for me, so I can play some more of these games, which I will. Which would be kind of cool.
Oh, hey, Immortal.
Hey, what's up, Immortal? Nice. More GTC in the house. What's going on?
Yep.
I like XYZ games.
Speaking of which, I checked our our sub count. This channel is at 481.
Nice. We're close.
We're
19 away.
Yes. And we've teased this before, but like once we get to 500, we will offer, well, we have to just do the math to make sure that like logistically it works out. But Rich has an awesome idea that's like totally 100% appropriate, and we hope we can.
Yeah, I hope it really works out because it's gonna be good.
Yeah.
Oh, Immortal says I see 484.
Woohoo!
A couple more people hit the button, so thank you, anyone that is hitting the button live while we're here.
No, and we appreciate that because we keep saying that we're trying to do more of this channel, but like life stuff keeps happening.
Right.
I mean, once we get to 500, though, I promise that will be the push.
Yeah, that'll be cool. That would be very cool. Mr. Stewart says, I hate how rare it is to find SMS games in the wild. Yeah, man, it is. It's tough in the United States because it wasn't as popular, nearly as popular as the NES, obviously, which I think is a shame because it's such a great system and it has so many good games. So many.
I didn't like. I think. I may have briefly heard, hey, like Sega like had a system that was like Nintendo because of the Game Gear adapter, and I know at the time I didn't care because I was like more like into Genesis. Really, I didn't learn even more about it, Rich, until you started doing like Fun for Five. Like I knew of the Master System, but I really didn't know. We have another Evercade Effect channel.
Come on, Sucker MC. What's up? Very cool.
I love how you see that little character. So yeah, but the great thing though is now as adults, it's like whether you can find original hardware or not, at least there's like many different options.
Yeah.
That you can play, you can play for things.
Yeah, well, and I mean for me, it's thank goodness for the Retron because without the Retron 5 and that 3-in-1 adapter, I wouldn't be able to do any of the stuff that I'm doing right now, including play Phantasy Star. And now I know there's all sorts of people, and I usually have it right here to grab, but it's actually in the other room because I was testing and then playing through a brand new homebrew from someone I actually know personally, which is kind of cool. We can talk about that in a little bit too. But my Ambernick, I mean, I got an Ambernick, right? You know, like I can play all of these games, you know, and with certain models of the Ambernick, yes, I can play them all with HDMI out and do captures and all that kind of stuff. But I don't know, something about the convenience of the Retron to me and some of the other things like the analog and all that kind of stuff makes it easier to capture and do all that kind of thing. So, so I'm very happy that this is a thing that exists. Now I really want, what's going on?
I like the image.
What I really want though is for Polymega to put out a module that'll do SMS to allow me to catalog some of these games like Phantasy Star, like Golden Axe Warrior, some of these higher priced titles, you know, because you know what happens, right? These are 40 years old already. You know, are we going to get to the 50 years old? They're still working, maybe. I don't know. You know, like if we had that adapter that you could put in to something like a Polymega and do that kind of stuff, that would be cool, right?
Wouldn't it work though with the Genesis adapter?
Right now, none of the adapters that are available for the Genesis work with the Sega Master System, including the power base module. So like none of that stuff works on Polymega yet, but I've heard that that's going to happen. So we'll see. Phantom says, I regret selling my Shining Force for the Sega CD. Painful stories, Phantom.
I can feel you. The only thing I can say that's maybe equal to that is when I owned like Chrono Trigger and Final Fantasy 3 in the box with all the maps and all that back in the day. So I feel your pain.
So here's the thing, Phantom. I like, if you want to feel bad with me, let's all go to eBay and look up the price of Popful Mail on the Sega CD. And we'll all cry together. We'll have a big hug. We'll reminisce. Because I had like all those Working Designs games, man. You know, like Lunar is pretty bad. Lunar Silver Star. I did get an awesome deal on this copy right here of Lunar Silver Star for the Sega CD, which is cool. Eternal Blue is kind of ridiculous. Vey is kind of up there, but in the middle. Was it Silpede? No, I don't think it's Silpede. So there was a shooter. There was a shooter for there, and then it's and then Popful Mail. But we'll get there.
Here's what we're gonna do. While Rich is answering that question, without I don't want anybody cheating.
Yeah.
I have the tab up, and I'll put in the chat how much you think it goes for. No cheating. No cheating. Just like off the top of your head.
Great. This is gonna be great. Yeah. Do all of your SMS games work on your Retron 5? The answer to that question is I have yet to find a Master System game that doesn't load, that doesn't have a problem on the cart. So, example, I have a copy of Zillion right here. This copy of Zillion won't work on my Retron 5 because this copy of Zillion I don't think works, period. I think it's a bad cart. I think something happened to it. It is one of the ones that came out of the flood, so it could have actually been damaged. And that sometimes happens. But I do have another copy of Zillion because I had two copies. I got from I bought a bundle from somebody, and then I bought another copy of Zillion, and in the bundle was a copy of Zillion, but whatever. But anyway, that's the only one I ran into, and there was one copy of another game that I ran into. Again, it was one of those things where one copy worked and one copy didn't. So I think it's just cartridges. Sometimes they go bad and then they won't work. But I've almost every single one that I've had, and I have had the really super common games, and I've had some really rare games. Case in point, Golden Axe Warrior works fine in my Retron. Phantasy Star works fine in my Retron. I had a copy of Ease 1. Ease 1 had works fine. It doesn't work anymore because it rusted. It was the only one that got so oxidized that it actually rusted and fell apart. I have that on the one of the, I think it was the third or fourth restoration video I ever did. I did ease, and I tried to take it outside and actually clean it off with electric cleaner, and you could see it actually just crumbling. It was really sad, but anyway, it was the only one that actually got really, really badly damaged. But yeah, that was
so I'll tell you, and we'll look at it in a second. Actually,
Yeah.
since you have a Polymega, if you're wanting a Japanese version that you can translate, that might be affordable. So, okay, depending.
Papa Mail. Okay.
Yeah. So depending, that's not wrong. Yeah. Could it? Yeah. Okay.
Kind
of depending upon. Okay. So let's look at this, and it depends upon the condition.
Yeah.
And like the version and all that. So yeah, this was.
And no worries, I heard.
Yeah, let me start from the top here. So,
Yeah.
like a typical one in the long box, 480.
Yep. With no registration.
Yeah. This one 475 with the 500.
Yep.
Registration filled. But then it kind of like check this out though, like just for the discs.
Yeah, man.
They're wanting like 250, 220
Yep.
like the.
It's crazy.
But, and then like there was a different, but so like okay, like this one 0 bids $38, that you might be able to snipe.
Yeah, for the Japanese version and get a patch. Yeah, that might be a thing. That might be a thing.
But here's what's funny though. So here's what's interesting. So this one that's like that's
funny.
like graded. But look at this though. This one, I guess this is like Filthy Games. Is this cover? Is it okay? No, it's just really good condition. Never mind. But like
it's just really good. Yeah. And that's what it is. Like sometimes it's like you got a minty fresh, which mine would have been, like super minty fresh, had the complete registration card, had all that kind of stuff because I bought it new at the store that I bought it from. And I usually keep pretty good, copies, pretty good care of my games. And Papa Mail was a game that I loved playing, but I didn't play a whole lot. So
this is the TurboGrafx. Okay, cool. This is the TurboGrafx CD. So I was like, oh,
yeah, man.
But some of them are getting up there.
But yeah, the Mega CD. I mean, $90. I'd probably take a swing at $90 for the Mega CD if I could get a patch. So that's, I mean,
look, you can get that with CDX
for a CDX, and I mean, as long as the CDX was working, that's not terrible. But like I don't technically need a CDX because I have I've got a whatchamacallit. I mean, obviously I have my Retron, but as far as Sega CD stuff goes, I got the Polymega. So that's one thing. But I also have a JVC XI.
That's right. That's right.
So, and the JVC XI is pretty cool. I like that a lot.
But even look at this $107. So I mean, it's like a lot more like obtainable at least.
Yeah. I mean, but it's like it's so wild, man. It's it just pains me, like all that stuff. Like, so I feel everybody's pain. Like we were talking, all the way back to Phantom's comment. Like, yeah, I mean, greatest regrets of letting things go. There was actually somebody who did a video about that a couple of days ago too. Talking about like things that they wish they didn't let go of. My Sega CD collection immediately is what comes to mind. I wish I had all those boxes back. Because then I would just put them all in my Polymega and then put them back on the shelf, So
it says that Pop Mail CD has only been tested for sound on a DVD player and is working, and not been tested for video. Maybe they didn't have anything to plug it in. I don't know. That's kind of
they say the CDX is not working, but in decent condition, and they still want $1,000 for it.
Oh, okay.
That's wild.
Controllers not included. Just
yeah. The CDX was a pretty oddball console. I almost went for one. Somebody had one back in the day. I want to say they wanted $250 for it, and that was a lot for back then because I bought my Gen 2 Sega CD on clearance at Toys R Us because I used to work there. I think it was $50 I bought it for, and then I bought my Gen 2 Genesis at whatchamacallit, at Funcoland for $25 with a whole bunch of games and stuff. So
I want to say at some point the Sega CD was like something stupid, like that CDX was like $100 or $50, like something stupid. Like, and I remember kind of joking, like, "Hey, that could be cool as a CD player," or maybe 200. No, maybe $200. Not quite, not quite. Yeah, but still.
Yeah.
Hey, who got crashed? It's funny. I've been doing that a lot, like the Fonz. I have no idea why. Yep. Also, channel member.
Yeah. Yeah, the CDX was like one of those things at the very end, Amber, the tail end of Sega's stuff before they went into the Saturn, where they just crunched a Genesis into a Sega CD and then put it out. But Crashline is right.
Yeah.
It is Phantasy Star time. But I'm going to put this away here, and then we're going to hit some buttons.
Yeah.
So I can go in to the Phantasy Stars.
You can, you can play in the background.
So yeah, exactly. And then we can continue talking.
Yes.
We can talk to some other stuff too, because I want to highlight that game that I sent you the link for, because I think it's really rad. But anyway.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna hit this button now.
Yeah, go for it.
All right. Ooh, I might need to bounce and come back because my OBS didn't like the fact that I think I unplugged too soon. So I'm gonna do this. You can probably still hear me though.
Yes.
So, yeah, you can still hear me even though I'm like this,
yep.
right? Yeah.
Yep.
So I'm gonna do this real quick so I can get this back, and then hopefully it'll come all back.
Oh, good. I was like, I will entertain everyone with a chiptune ballad. Okay, so we're good.
What is that doing?
I don't know why. I so want to know, since like Ryan is one of the people who was gifted a membership on my channel, if he's actually gone back and like listened to that whole thing. I don't know. I just want to know. I just want to know.
There we go. Let me do that. Do that real quick.
Yeah, I love how the chat's booming and everyone's being.
Oh, it's awesome.
Yeah, actually, I heard.
Super cool.
I think he was wanting to know. He said he found a copy of Phantasy Star cheap, and he wanted to know if he should. I guess it depends on like, is it just? Yeah, he said he found a cheap copy online. I guess
how much is it?
Yeah, how much is it? Just the cart? Is it complete? Yeah.
I mean, cart only. I would say. There we go. Cart only. I would say anything 70, like 70 to 100 if you're really looking for the game. 70 to 100 I think is acceptable for card only. $100 if it's just card only. I'd still like, as long as it was minty, I would go for $100. If it's all inclusive, if it's got manual and case and the game, yes, go for it, because most of those complete go for higher than that. Yeah, it's just the cart. Yeah, I mean, $100 is a little high, but I mean, it's a great game. So, and if it's got a good battery and they say it's tested and they show like pictures of it working, I mean, it's a solid cart. So if it's worth it to you, you can go for it. When I bought mine, I bought a cart only for, I think it was $75 or $80 right when I started doing Good Times. So that was a little bit ago. So yeah, they got loose for $69.99 on price charting. Yeah, so right around $75 is what I paid for it 2 years ago. So that's kind of in line with that. So, yeah, I would say that's probably good.
Yeah, as long as the battery. Yeah, I agree with you. As long as the battery is working.
Yeah, the battery is the key. Yeah, if they don't say anything about the battery, they don't say anything about saving. Like, oh, it doesn't save well or might not save. Yeah, that battery's no good. So unless you're using a Retron with the adapter, then there's nothing going to save you. And sometimes even if the battery's too dead, it won't even load, because the Retron will try to pull the backup memory and then will fail in that step, and then the cart won't read. Are the SMS batteries replaceable? Yes, but you need a delicate hand, because some of the batteries on some carts, not all, but some, are soldered. So you'd have to loosen it with a gun and then get the battery out and then resolder. So,
well, I know some places like Game Over Games, they're saying that they would like replace any battery on most like cartridges for like $10. So you might be able to find like a local retro store where they have a service. I mean, even if it was like $20 to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has to be. So exactly, Mortal.
Exactly.
So, but then you could at least knock them down on the price. If they can, would you take 50 for it? And then at least or 60, something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it should be under.
Yeah, pretty good times. So anyway, here we go. We're in the middle of the grind. We got 8,500 Masitas. We got the Laconian sword. So that's the best sword in the game for Alice. Check, which is great. We got the Zacronian armor, which is like the second, I think it's the second best armor in the game. And then the ceramic shield still. We're going to go after, what did they want? They want us to go buy a diamond shield. I don't even know if I want to do that because we're about to get the Laconian shield. Unless for whatever reason they want the Laconian shield on Odin. Because you only get one. You only get one of those. So maybe that's what they want. They want the diamond shield on Alice and the Laconian on Odin. So maybe we'll get it. So that's fine. Oh, trust the guide. I use a guide. That's the top rated guide on GameFAQs, by the way, in case anyone wants to like take some notes, play along, that kind of thing. Yeah. And also on GameFAQs, shout out once again to Starfighters 76 for awesome color maps of not only every dungeon in the game, but the world maps too, with all their location points and stuff. Super awesome work. It's been there since 2005, those maps. And Starfighters is kind of like the reigning champ of GameFAQs maps. Did the maps for Golden Axe Warrior, and like I think they were in the chat. Was like 2 or 3 cards ago. I want to say it was something like 70 games or like 200 games, so like a lot of games. So yeah, it's pretty cool. So
and I say, Mr. Shu, I missed the Sega Neptune. Yeah, that was supposed to like be like that system that Sega never released where it could do like 32X in Genesis. I know some people like Macho Nacho Productions like put one of those, like there've been like open source projects. I know like he put one of those together. Very difficult, but yeah, it's like a fictional system. But yeah, it would be. Yeah, it's kind of funny. Good old OBS. He says he has a love-hate relation. Yeah, OBS can sometimes.
Yep. Let me go and check to see what kind of situation I'm looking for. I need 1900 XP for Alice. That's definitely going to happen. That'll definitely happen tonight. That'll happen. Oh yeah, we got this. Everyone's going to level up. I want to see if I can get to Noah by the end of tonight. I want to see if I can get to Noah to level 20. That'll mean that in general, everyone will be ready for the end of the game.
Can you turn that down a tiny bit?
Yeah, the laser.
Yes. Oh my god, that was like a dog whistle to me.
Let me go. I'll turn it down.
Oh my god. Everything else is fine, but I was like, ow.
Yeah. I can change weapons, but he's so convenient in this.
No, don't do that. But just turn down a little bit because I was like, wow.
Yeah, it gets you. I keep thinking tomorrow's Thursday. Man, if tomorrow was Thursday, I'd be sleeping already because I got to get ready to go on the plane. So it's gonna be wild. Boom.
Are you gonna be on Are you gonna be able to be on Evercast?
I don't know. Like it's probably not a thing because as soon as we get off, so we fly on Thursday, out to California. We spend all day Friday doing some things, and then Saturday morning we get ready to go to Petco Park for the graduation. And then after I get out of there, it's like literally run, don't walk to the plane and get right on the plane, go.
Fun.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it could be the solar flares.
Yeah, don't let me forget because next week, and I think the weekend after, I'm going to be in an undisclosed location, so I may need I mean, it's someone else to run Evercast. Yeah.
Yeah. Amber's watching this makes me
Well,
want to
you know what's
play it.
funny
Heck
about
yeah,
that?
it's good.
I think this weekend it'll just because I know like Pete will be in an undisclosed location too, so I think it might just be me and Crow.
Immortal's gonna stalk me at Petco Park. Yeah, man, come on in and cheer it up. I don't even know how many people are gonna be there. They sent this big letter to Danae. I was like, this is where you're gonna sit, and then like this is where some other people are gonna sit, and then like all of the rest of the stadium is like for like people to sit in, but they have sectioned off areas like they know how many people are coming. And I'm like, wow, is this stadium gonna be really full of people? That's gonna be crazy.
That's
gonna
awesome.
be nuts for a graduation. And thanks, Mr. Shua. I will definitely let everybody know.
I think it's interesting that
let her know.
he said Mrs. Rich and not Mrs. Bacon.
Nice.
Hey, I think you've succeeded because Amber's saying, "Yeah, playing the game makes you want to play it." Yes.
Yeah. Right.
That's the idea.
It's a good time.
Did you have some topics that you wanted to talk about while we were playing?
Yeah. Well, there was that one. I sent you that link in the Discord. There's a new game coming out on the 17th. So it's actually coming out this weekend. What is the official? It's Friday. Coming out on Steam first, and then Switch on the 30th. I think it's Switch on the 30th. It's a game I backed on Kickstarter a while ago, like a while ago. But it's just finally coming out, which is awesome. It's called Master Key, and it was originally described as like a one bit adventure, very monochrome, like a whatchamacallit looking kind of thing. Let's hit this one. There we go. Yeah, like monochromy, like really cool looking, like graphics and stuff. But it's like a Zelda-like, which is cool. So
yeah, it looks neat.
Yeah, it's really, really neat. One guy, one studio, like a one-man studio. I always like that kind of stuff. So let me put this on Odin here.
Yeah, that's really cute. Oh, okay, you can play a demo. That's cool.
Yep. Yeah. There is a demo available. Yep, for sure.
I'll add to my wish list. Very cool.
Yeah. So definitely, if you're into the puzzly, Zelda-likey goodness, it's definitely something that I think might be needed to be checked out. And if you're waiting to see, before, like you want to do like a little try before you buy kind of thing, then I'll be fun for fiving the game for sure as soon as I get back from the trip. So
nice.
So that'll be a highlight.
In all seriousness, are you gonna try to? Is Immortal gonna try to meet up with you, or is he just? He said he's gonna try to stalk you.
Oh, I mean, who knows? I don't know exactly if we're gonna be able to make it work out. Because like I said, like we come in late on Thursday. Yeah. We're gonna want to sleep in on Friday. Run around, maybe get dinner, and then go right back to bed because we have to get ready for the graduation. Because I think there might be even like a practice or something like that. So, there's that.
Oh, that's bitching. Almost. That looks like it could be on I totally forgot about the play date.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I mean, so my buddy Jeff from Go Game Go, he still does a lot of good playdate content, and he loves the thing, man. It's cool. Well, awesome. I'm glad that the community's still there and exists because that's kind of cool. So
I've been waiting for a game I backed a Kickstarter called Vodka whatever.
A platformer main and stop motion. That's awesome.
That sounds cool.
That's very cool.
Really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those things too where for me, I think there's like 3 games. I think there's three separate other, not just Master Key, but 3 other games that are Kickstarter games that I'm waiting for to come out. One of them is Into the Eternal. I did a little bit of that, the news coverage and stuff. Yeah, man, awesome. Thanks, Atari fan for coming on in. Love seeing you on both here and the channel. It's very cool, very cool. So
okay. So that's okay, cool. So that's a topic, and Rich, I don't know, you may or may have heard about what I'm going to talk. So Mad Little Pixel did a video. You remember those like those Atari sets of 2,600 games that were $1,000, and you got like 10 games.
Yep.
Well, apparently there's been like, a few people that reported like two of the games or so were bad.
Yeah.
And they contacted Atari, and Atari was like, "Well, all we could do is like offer you like a refund," and that kind of blows. Because, yes.
They don't have extra carts.
Well, so that's what's interesting, because he was talking in the video like, hey, maybe they were banking on people just like keeping them as shelf pieces, not testing them, because it's for $1,000. Like if I'd spent that much, I don't know if I would want to open them, but obviously if you spend that much money, it should work.
Sure, of course.
But I don't know. Maybe was it just like a bad customer service rep or all that? Because my whole thing is that if I paid that much money, I'd be like, no, I want a replacement cart. And yeah, I kind of like agree with what he was saying. It's like ridiculous. Like they've made their money. Like they can afford to easily just send them another cart.
100%.
Yeah. And what I thought was kind of great too in his video to raise awareness, he's like, which is true. He never asks for people to like and share videos. Like he rarely ever does. So I'm like, yeah, raise awareness on that, because you spend that much money. It says, and then I think like here was the rub. I forget, like it was either Crystal Castles. One of them flat out didn't work, and then the other game, like like they put like the board in backwards. But I'm like, and then you would have to like take it apart and risk the sticker. But I'm like, I'm sorry, if you're paying $100 for an Atari cart that you could buy like just to play for $5, like you shouldn't have to do that.
Right.
You're
right about that.
Like these are supposed to be like mint condition. Let me show off like this Lamborghini car. Like it should work flawlessly. And if not, they need to make it right. Because I was like,
well, I mean, QC for collector's edition stuff that's that expensive. I mean, you gotta nail it. You gotta nail that.
Yeah, and they waited a year. So I was like, I'd forgotten about that, but I'm like, come on, man. I mean, one can argue whether you spend the money on that, which is, listen, if people want that, they have the money, that's fine. But it's like if you buy something expensive, it is a display piece, but good God, it should work.
Yeah.
Well, okay, Mock Duck. Yeah, the debacle on which carts are broken. Yeah, see, that's what. Yeah, I think it's man.
Yeah.
So that's kind of nuts, because it's like you could argue, well, yeah, if they're that, you should leave them on the shelf and not open and then have to buy, like then you could buy the other cards separately, but which is probably, like, if I was spending that much, and I would do, but at the same time, you should be able to play them regardless. Like, what's the point?
Yeah,
man.
And speaking of, Mock Duck's actually is another good channel for VCS stuff. If
cool.
you guys want to watch some stuff about VCS that's not on my own or Mr. Shula or Ballistic Coffee Boy, Mock Duck's another one. He actually plays most games maybe like a week or up to a month after release, but does a really good job doing gameplay and like that kind of stuff.
Heck yeah,
he has good times. Speaking
of which, it's funny. I know, like, we need to get our schedules straight, but yeah, we need to have you on this channel as a guest sometime, Mr. Shua. I know we.
Absolutely, man. Yeah. The door's always open for guests. I know we haven't had one in a really long time, but yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because he's got some interesting stuff going on his channel, and so it'd be fun to talk about. And I always like raising awareness, especially for like newer YouTubers starting out and all that.
Absolutely, 100%.
So
yes.
So they do, and Retro Game Corps put out a video on it. I haven't had the chance yet to watch it, but yeah, it's this exact. All I can say is like the title of it said like they did it right. You know what I mean?
Did he get one?
And he did like a full impressions video on it, but you can't buy them yet.
Right. Yeah. I know they're not orderable yet, but that's cool that they sent out to somebody.
Yeah, but that was the top. Yeah, that was the topic, and he said he would put the price and the links to it. But that is something that I would seriously consider and literally I would want it just for the purpose of just playing Game Boy, Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Color. Nice, that's all I would use it for.
Yeah, I mean, I would use it because it has a new updated HDMI out. So I would use it to do more recording of homebrew stuff for NES. So for example, so there's somebody I know that just put out a NES Maker game that he customized. It's called Desert of the Undead, I want to say is the name of the game. It's out on Steam right now. So there's a Steam page for it. It's on itch.io. You can get the ROM on itch as well to play it. And it's a good game. I'm gonna do a Fun for 5 on it.
Does Undead New Frontiers?
Yeah, that should be.
Oh, cool. Ooh.
That should be it. Yeah. You can spotlight it. Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, show it off.
One quick thing before that, because Mr. Shua, dude, especially for Stardew Valley with the 116 patch, I was glued to that for a long time as well. I still need to go back to that game. It is a great game. That's awesome. And it has the true indie spirit of that. The only DLC that's ever been for that game is just like the soundtrack. Like all the updates and everything has been free. Let me go back here. No, go back to the. Yeah,
that's the trailer it's an NES game, so it's cool that he has like the good graphic thing.
There we go. That's what I wanted to show. There we go. Yes, I'm like, dude.
Yeah. Like, tell me this isn't like just throw this on like an Indie Heroes right now.
Dude, why isn't this on Indie Heroes 4? Yeah.
Well, it just came out, so.
Yeah. Well, it could
be putting out like pre-order information. He just got the boxes, and he sent me a picture of what the box art looks like. Let me see if I can. Here, I'll just see if I can find it. I'll send it over to.
Yeah.
I'll send it over to Ed.
I went to try to see on the website. I'm like, why did that go to Gmail? Like, I did not want that.
Yeah, right. That was weird.
Yeah.
Let me see here. Let me just see if we can find this here. There we go. That's that. There's me talking about the Amberneck SP. There we go. Let's see here. So he found somebody else that does this artwork for the boxes. Oh, sweet. All right, well, here we go. I'm just going to share that directly with you on the Discord. There, Ed. You should get it. You should have gotten it right now, what the box looks like. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool. And it's a fun game. I actually, I finished it. He is not a bad guy, caught up on the early Emiko Scuffle. Yeah, yep, that's exactly right. He was the one that hosted everybody at his house for the Crayola event. And I was the one that brought the TV that ran the Crayola event. But yeah, it was cool. It was, it's a shame because like people get in, people were getting like in the Emiko group, people were getting into fights and stuff and saying all sorts of nonsense or whatever. And I try to stay away from all that because it's like, come on, guys, we're talking about pieces of plastic to play video games on it. There's no reason to get like crazy about stuff. But yeah, so I don't mess around with that. But hey, when you're back and you've got, like you're back in the scene, you've got something cool and it's an independent game, I'm definitely taking a look, no matter what. I don't care what you say about whatever, like regardless of whether or not like, like I like home still or whatever. And, who cares? But yeah, it's a cool game and it's fun. And I can't wait to do a video about it because it actually is a pretty killer game. It's hard as nails though, man.
There we go.
Tough as nails. There you go. And that's what the box is gonna look like. That's I don't know if it's like an exclusive or whatever. Hopefully, hopefully the bro didn't want that to go, like top secret or whatever. But anyway, that's what the box is gonna look like.
Very cool.
Yeah,
very
yeah.
cool.
Mr. Shu was like, "Hey, man, that's how I found Chris and Pete and Chuck and me." Yeah, that's right. That's right. So, and it's because we were, we were all talking about, and all those, everybody there, Chuck, Pete, Chris, and me, we were all the guys that were just talking like, "Hey, man, this is a thing. Here it is. Whatever. No pitchforks, none of that. We're just talking about stuff." So, and whoever knows, like, it could be very soon, like in the next 6-7 months, that we're talking about this stuff again, and in the fact that all these games that we were waiting for are finally out, which is cool. So I'm still waiting on Finnegan Fox to hit Amico home, because I just want to play the game again. I got to play it while I was in this guy's house, in the Retro Bros house. I was playing Finnegan Fox, and I thought it was great. I thought it was a cool little platformer. But yeah, apparently they're getting the source code. The guys that are still there over in Television, John and everybody there, they're going to get the source code and do that. So, but yeah,
Nice.
Yeah, physical edition. I don't know when he's going to have it available, like when it is. Actually, you know what? Let me just hit him up, so we can get some live answers. Let me hit him up to see when that is available. So. Do. Okay. We'll see. I reached out to him, so yeah, there you go.
Very cool.
Now I'm gonna magic up. So, so yeah. What else we got? There was something else. There was another game. Oh yeah. I think we were talking about Gotchard Chronicles. One of these cards. I think we started talking about that, right? It was like the spiritual successor, kind of like game. It's kind of like a Lunar kind of thing. Only it was like Lunar mixed with 2-player simultaneous Zelda. Like that kind of thing. That hit its mark, and man, oh man, are they making huge strides on that game. The Kickstarter got smashed, which is awesome. And then on their YouTube channel, they've been interviewing the guy who was the voice of Galleon. He's actually going to play a character in the game. They actually got the original voice actor from Lunar on this game, plus 2 others from the Lunar project, and the composer of the soundtrack for Lunar is going to do the music for this game. So I can't wait. I can't wait for that thing. That's going to be rad. So very, very cool stuff there. Cure, Mayu, Magic, Cure, Noah. And we're fine there. So, get out of here. All right.
So anyways,
the Evercade. we hit 10 o'clock. It is time for the Evercade to affect the card. So wait, we have to go back. We have to go back to the comment. It was like right in the beginning. Somebody said something, and I was like, "Oh, that's great for 10 o'clock."
Oh, yeah.
All right, that's it. That's that. Amber. So that's that. Everyone doing whatever. It's fine. Now, where is it? I can't find out where it is. No.
Dang it. I know. I'm looking through that too.
It was like really early in the discussion.
Retron.
No. Oh, it was the first comment from Pick and Duck. He said, I want them to come out with better vehicle combat and racing games. And my answer to that is absolutely. And wouldn't that be awesome? I mean, they have to get Sony, right? They would have to get like an SE studio to get it. But wouldn't that be cool if they could get like Twisted Metal? You know, they have PSX emulation. They could totally do it. You know what I mean? How cool would that be? Are you muted? Oh no.
There we go.
There we go. There it is.
Yeah. No, I was saying that would be like one of the best racing games we could get, other than like Ridge Racer. You know,
yeah, Ridge Racer would be another one. We'd have to get the Namcos back. That'd be kind of cool.
That would be fantastic.
Yeah. So what other racing games would there be that were really cool? There was a couple cool ones. Destruction Derby was really cool. Rallycross. That's really cool. Those like early PSX like chunky racers. I thought that they were great fun. Ooh, Crazy Taxi. Yeah, man. That would be great. You would have to. I think we'd have to have pumped up stuff. Oh, did you guys talk about Alpha on the Evercast last week?
Yeah.
Yeah. What was everyone's consensus?
So initially, because I was kind of like me and Crow were kind of thinking that it was just going to be like a cheaper like one slot VS with 2 controller ports.
I
mean, maybe USB-C instead, and then
offering
a cheaper version, and I was like, well, then it was kind of like, well, maybe it's like like a table, like for them we were like like a tabletop arcade, but what we the consensus, which made the most sense, like, well, what if it's just like a dock for the EXP and the EXPR? That would make what I mean, like you could plug in a controller. Because the EXPR doesn't have like any type of like HDMI out, so it's like maybe they would have something be like $30 for people who just like, really wanted that, didn't want to spend in the VS, and then you could use your existing like EXP to also like plug in a controller. That's kind of
I mean, all those options are good. Somebody put out something that was actually kind of like interesting. So like, what if Alpha was like the equivalent of something to the effect of the ALU, like not with the stand and the monitor and all that, but just the sticks, like if it's a 1 stick or 2 stick option, where it was an arcade stick that had the slots in it.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But a USB connector so you can connect it to the VS.
Yeah.
And USB ports, just like the ALU does, that has inputs so you can put in more controllers, so you can go to 4.
Oh, it's like if you wanted to use that to hook directly into your TV instead of the instead of the VS. No, you know what?
But then it's actually arcade hardware, because you're getting an arcade stick, maybe a spinner, maybe the like a trackball or whatever. You never know. That would be kind of cool.
Yeah. I remember like a while back. Yeah, we kind of talked about that, and then I was like, well, what if they did something crazy? Like maybe they had like some Capcom fighting games or something on it that you could play. That you could also play.
Yeah. Phantom's like, I got it. They bought the rights to iArcade. That would be kind of cool, actually.
So let me see. Yeah. Yes. No. Twisted Metal. Yeah. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Rush Cruising USA.
Yeah,
so
Cruising USA is a very cool.
That is interesting. Ian Hobbies put, does anyone see Evercade going the FPGA route 10 years from now?
I mean, I don't know. Because I think that might be antithetical to the model, because the model is affordable retro. An FPGA is not necessarily affordable right now. Although there is some guy out there that is working on an FPGA board, and he said he can get the cost down to $100
to
start a Mister. So I watched a video on it. He said he's been working on it for like several years, and they think he finally cracked it.
Oh, I know who you're talking about, like Taki. Yes, yeah, I saw that, like on his secondary channel. Yes,
Yeah.
he demonstrated some. Yeah, I was
Mhm.
like, wait a second. I was like, yeah, I actually subscribed to his secondary channel because of that.
Nice. Yeah, so hopefully he's got some cool stuff to coming down the pike. But
yeah, it would be interesting because then it's kind of like, well, Mister can't yet read discs, although this would just be more like inserting like a USB key or an SD card or something. So then I think that because it's reading the actual ROMs off of it, so sure.
Right.
Yeah. I will like here's the two reasons why. Okay, 10 years from now, that would definitely be a possibility. But I think the reason why they wouldn't do that in the future, because then it's like they would have no backwards compatibility, or would it? Or could it be that like you just put in the cart and it would just read the ROMs, but then they would have to like completely redesign their whole system. So I don't know.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like, if Blaze were to go down that route, it would be such a break from what they're doing right now that I don't know if it would make sense for them.
But 10 years, though, yes. I who knows?
That's true. Anything could happen in that.
Yeah.
So, oh man, that's a huge.
But yeah, I do agree with you 100%, Rich. The price, like, definitely the costs have to come down like a lot cheaper.
Yeah, for sure.
So maybe 10 years from now, that could be a possibility. So here's the thing that I really want to know is a good topic for FPGA, because is it more like as far as like using FPGA just to play like ROMs? I'm not talking about something like the Analog Pocket where you put in like something that could read like actual like carts. I wonder if it's just more of a mental thing, like knowing like that it is FPGA, that it is that much better. Because when I do see footage and all that and stuff, to me it looks just like regular like software emulation. Like I don't really, I mean, there might be subtle different. Like I wonder if it's one of those things where like if you compared it side by side, you may notice the colors are off like a little bit. I mean, how sometimes I've seen that with like software emulation on different like portable devices, just because the different LCDs, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's what I wonder. Like, and like I see there's a case for like, yes, if maybe you're trying to get like the most accurate, but depending on the price, like is it still worth it? Like I would be curious.
Mm-hmm.
Because I haven't, like, I would love, like, if I had like a if I had like one of those devices, like put it next to an Evercade and capture the footage and be like, you be the judge. What's the
Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously, like, that gets into that like subjective area where everyone's going to have different opinions, but
yeah. The Blaze is doing a great job. Yeah,
yep.
Emulation. Yeah,
absolutely. And it's because of some of those things that are happening under emulation that are making these games better to play, or even playable, right?
Yeah.
Because FPGA principle says that it's experiencing it the way it was intended, right? But some of these games back then didn't work. So in FPGA land, they're intended to not work until these new improvements come along, right?
True. So I think 10 years from now, they'd want to appeal the games that are retro the next generation, stay relevant, will be aging a lot, or maybe both. Yeah, see, that's what I was wondering, like for compatibility.
That's
and
true.
All that. Although here's kind of like an interesting, like scary, like reality. It's like 10 or so years from now, I'm wondering like that might be the only way to play like retro games. Like it really depends. Like will Evercade still exist? You know what I mean? Like that. How scarce will collect.
Yeah.
Will collecting be, and and all that stuff.
That's really the thing, right? Because we're already knocking on the door of some of the major things approaching that 50-year mark, right? As soon as we hit 70, as soon as we hit 2 years from now, in 26, the Atari 2600 will be approaching 50 years old.
Dang!
And some of these 2600 cartridges in 27, 28, and 29 will also hit 50 years old. Some of these franchises, Space Invaders and Pac-Man, and like all, I mean, we're going to hit the big 5-0 for some of these franchises. And at that point, yeah, I mean, nostalgia through the roof for people of our generation. But, does any of the little kids want to look at something that's 50 years old with that same nostalgia? I don't know. Just think about it. Like when things were 50 years old when we were kids, did we look back at them with reverence? I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They weren't
probably.
part of our generation. It's pretty wild to think, though, that any game, the game I'm playing right now, this came out in 86. So 2 years from now, it's 40 years old. So it's like, wow. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, 1977 plus 50. Wow.
Yeah, minus 50 is 1927. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Plus, yeah.
Just think about it, right? But like, how crazy is the advancements though? 1927 to 1977. So 1977, is a big hit year for a lot of sci-fi fans anyway, because it's the year that A New Hope came out. So we get Star Wars in 77, and in 1927, there were still people riding around in like open air vehicles.
Yeah. That's why I don't put the word piracy in air quotes, but that's why I always say like that, like unless like even if like let's say archive.org and all that got shut down, like ROMs will still float, like will always be around on the internet, I think, regardless.
Well,
so that'll preserve it, you know what I mean?
But I think the thing about archive.org is though, archive.org is an extension of like a government entity, so it's like it's hard to shut archive.org down, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I mean, there's some gray area on archive though, Yeah.
But here's what I
find
think
something really cool though on archive just the other day.
Yes, I think more we need to worry about is losing games like Adult Swim is owned by Warner Brothers. Like they put out a thing saying like after this date you'll no longer be able to buy like those games off of Steam, but at least if you've already bought them, you can always download them.
Yeah, well, and then
games, that's kind of the tricky thing.
Well, think about what's happening to the PS3 and Vita stores over the summer. They're finally going down, so you won't be able to download any of those anymore.
Oh, and the Microsoft 360 too.
Yep. Well, I think the 360 is actually done. I think they pulled it. If I'm not mistaken, it's already done.
Yeah, it's either already done or there was like a week or a month. Yeah. I remember.
April 30th, I want to say, was the last day of the Xbox 360 store, and it's going to be sometime in the summer for PS3 and Vita. And the only reason I know that is because the PS3, I launched my PS3 the other day and downloaded my copy of Demon Souls to it. So
yeah,
he's like, I'm not even 40 yet, and that just made me feel like 50 is lurking. Yeah, man. Yeah, you'll blink, and it's there, man. I can't believe that in October I hit the 4 or 5. So
right.
Yeah, I'm like, wow, man, it's crazy.
But I know, like age comes upon us and all that, and
but
it's a tricky thing with certain games or even like collections. Like the SNK collection, which would be great to be brought to Evercade, which is like everything that's not Neo Geo. And it's like, as long as you already like I own that, like as long as I own that, I can re-download it to Steam because Steam is cool and that game doesn't require online play, but that could get delisted. But that's why I think you can always find ROMs.
Yeah. So actually, here's another question, right? So because we're gonna live in this world over the summer. Say we got now the PS3, right? PS3 store goes down. There are PS3 store exclusive games that now no longer exist. They were never put out physically. They were only available on the store. Is it okay? I mean, not like set aside, I guess, the quote unquote moral quandary of doing these things, but is it okay, in your opinion, for someone like another friend of the channel, Blaine Locklear, right? Is it okay for someone like him to then put out a guide and go, well, the store's dead. Here's how to crack your PS3, and here's a repository because somebody pulled all the games, and here you can go get the games.
Yes, I'll tell you why, because I feel this way. Let's say about like music, video. Let's say anything with the arts, right? Like
Mhm.
if there's a way, like if there's a platform or a way for you to like give money and support that developer, you should do
Yep.
it.
Yep.
But if there's not, and that's the only way to play it, then it's not like they're losing any money. It's kind of like the same way like buying Super Mario Brothers from like a retro store or whatever. Like Nintendo, no one's getting money from that. It's kind of like the same thing.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
I think it's fine to tell people at your own, especially because the store is taken down. What I think isn't okay is like if people are like, let's say like Nintendo that regardless of how you feel about Nintendo that's selling Switch games, it's like they're still selling. Like you shouldn't do that. You know what I mean?
right. So I think like you live in the same area that I do in
Yeah.
that sense. Because so what would make me kind of upset, right, is there are some great games that are going to go away and no one's ever going to be able to play them. And I know for a fact, like, for example, there's a fantastic little compact SRPG adventure in the Vandal Hearts series that came out on PS3. It only came out on PS3 digital. It was only available that one place. Maybe it came out on Xbox 360 too, but only digitally, right? It's like a 5-6 hour game, but it's nice. You sit down, you play. It's awesome. And it's great, especially if you're a fan of that series. So the store goes down. Now you can't play it. It's made by Konami. You think Konami's going to put out a physical version of that game somewhere, anywhere? No, it's never going to happen. It's never going to happen. Unless maybe someone demanded, looks like some kind of collector's edition, Vandal Hearts series collectors, like repackaged bundle something. But Vandal Hearts is one of those series that's like so niche, like people, they know Shining Force, they know Fire Emblem, they know Final Fantasy Tactics, they know Ogre Battle even before Vandal Hearts. They know all those other ones. You know what I mean? So I think it's one of those things where, it'd just be a shame, right? And then of course for legacy people, there's everyone likes Rocket League. There's Supersonic acrobatic something battle cars. It's like 7,000 words of the title. It's the predecessor to Rocket League, made by the same team. Again, PS3 store exclusive. It's going to be gone.
Well, the good news is, and they did this. Like I'm sure people have already backed up everything you could buy on the store.
Mm-hmm.
Like they did that with the Wii. Like there's like a Blaster Master cast. So that's a good thing. But what sucks though is that people that want to like have the convenience, like legit, that'll be the only way is to like to hack your PS. And I think that's fine because it's like you want to be able to play it. The store's done. It's a shame. Let me get caught up here on the chat. When I was a kid, we got the newest systems retired, the old ones sitting on better graphics, thinking, I kind of had that too. Like when I remember my Super Nintendo, then like the Nintendo like looked ugly to me. And I was like, why would I want to play that when I have the better graphics?
Mm-hmm.
Could care less about last generation. Okay. I was like, what are lady games? I was like, I know spell check. That was kind of funny. Yeah. That's hilarious. But no, I know believe me, it like the most I remember at a garage sale selling my Atari with like 10 games for like, I think I had it for like $15 and selling it for $12 because I wanted to get rid of the damn thing because I wanted a Super Nintendo and I didn't care about Atari and I hate that. I never thought now I would care about that.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's just that's kind of how and that was and some of that was a little bit necessity. Like I sold a Nintendo game just so I could buy, so I'd have the money to get a Super Nintendo. But like $15 wasn't really going to make a difference. But anyway, you know what I mean? So I told that's how it was. That's why like the 7800, I didn't care. I'm like, ew, why would I want to play that? It's made by Atari. Atari's a failing system. I want Super Nintendo. That's how I felt as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
That's so, and it sucks, right? Yeah. So it's just like,
it's legit too. The feeling.
Yeah. True.
Yeah.
I already get for PC. Oh, I love. Okay, that's okay. I get it. Yeah. I have to fill you in on this. Yeah. Only retro buttholes get pissed when people keep an old system alive. Yeah. So here's what's really funny about that. I forget what the heck we were talking about. And I think I said the word like retro buttholes because maybe we were talking about gatekeepers, and then now like And then like Immortal said like he's like, yeah, I'd buy a shirt that said I hate retro buttholes on it. So now like, or I was just like saying that like any like when I'm any like retro game like creature or monster, anything that like that's like causing me difficulty in a retro game. So it's kind of funny.
Yeah.
So at some point I may have a shirt with like, with my logo on it that's just like I hate retro buttholes. So that's it's just funnier. It's like you could like probably like somebody could wear that in public. It's not, it's not like a like it's not fine. It's that fine line with somebody like if like your kid is wearing it, you may think that's cute. You know what I mean? Oh yes, thanks, Eric. Thank you so much for joining.
Yeah, man. Thanks for dropping in.
Had the complete Surgeon for I remember when you could buy a Virtual Boy brand new for $50 at Walmart, like going
when it was going out.
Like experience. Yep. Yeah. So that's but that's the thing that we've all kind of we've all done that, and it is it is what it is. Luckily, there's other ways that we can play it, and yes, you can even buy original hardware, and things are expensive. But I think the one thing is like, hey, you could buy like a Virtual Boy, but you can't buy your Virtual Boy again unless like you had like mad skills to track it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And that's why anybody says that, hey, I have like this retro thing from my childhood, like that's awesome.
Right.
That's really cool. So I think all of us have kind of come to terms with like, with that. And it's, but what's interesting though, kind of speaking of pirating and ROMs, like other than getting to play like a TurboGrafx Express once when I was a kid, because a rich kid brought it to school, really diving into that library, like in the late 90s, early 2000s was through emulation, because nobody I knew had that system. So
yeah.
It's kind of interesting. But yeah, with stuff like that on the PC, that was kind of thing, copying games over and all that. That was, I guess, one of the advantages. And I remember too in the mid to late 90s when you could like Nintendo emulation was pretty good. So it's just like it was like crazy or thing like Super Nintendo. But yeah, I guess it's kind of true, because I thought then when I was younger, I'm like, hey, if I really want to play these games, I'll always be able to come back and play an emulation. And I wasn't wrong, but I didn't realize like the physical attachment to them was kind of, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's kind of a big topic here. Retro buttholes. Yeah.
Right,
so yeah, I know. It's a giggle. No, I love that Immortal has encouraged.
12,000. So we're only 500 away. Nice. We're gonna get there.
Yeah.
553 experience. Well, it's like 550 or 547 experience up until level 20.
Nice. So Amber. So here, they need to do what they did. The music, offer catalogs of games. So reasonable. So what they did is, what's kind of funny, because basically what you described as Steam, like this, but I know what you mean, like make it geared more towards retro, because that's kind of funny you mention that, because that's like what Steam did to kind of save like the PC gaming industry.
Yeah.
And kind of
they need, so like retro games need like Spotify, like or Netflix or something like that.
Yeah.
But something that actually aggregates all those licenses and keeps them in like that one space where you can go. Like, I mean, and there are services that exist there, right? Like Antstream, like what happens if Antstream just goes nuclear and just they grow so much, they get all the licenses, and then they become that service, Yeah. I'd pay for a membership for Antstream for lifetime. If I could just do this.
But what's interesting though is it's so like, and the key is easy, and and the thing is like Steam, I think, is a good platform to that, because they do offer sales and whatnot, but it's just like not everything goes there. Like it was great, like what Apple did with like music, like to like make it easy. And Evercade kind of someone does it for physical, but I mean, like you can buy some games, and I think the key Amber was saying too, at a reasonable price, because you can get some games like off of like Switch and PS4, but maybe something like Bubble Bobble, they might want like $10 or maybe like $8.99 for just that one game digitally, and usually it'll be just like a port. Like there'll be no like they won't even put in the minimal effort that like Capcom or Konami does like for the screen options. So that's which kind of sucks. It's like I think a reasonable price, like you should be able to buy, let's say, like a digital title collection for $5 and get like 10 games, like something like that.
Right.
But or like at least like if you get like the Namco digital Like I have the first one on PS4, then I did break down and get that on Steam, mainly for the Pac-Man Championship NES version. Even though you can play that on a ROM, I wanted the ease of use and official. Like that was like $5. So I think that's like the key, because it is kind of ridiculous with some of the digital collections how they want like too much money. And I'm like, it's digital.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, it's nice for the convenience, but technically you could just like load EMU Deck on Steam Deck and play the ROMs. You know what I mean? So it's a balance. But like some publishers will offer more with Atari 50, or at least with Capcom, you get like with the like Disney Afternoons and the Mega Mans, you have like a boss rush mode. So at least like they put in the effort to offer more,
right? Which
I think is great. And that's why at least with Blaze, like even with Blaze, it's not just a ROM dump. It's you get the they do fixes and they add things, improvements to the games, and you get a physical copy. So it's like you know what I mean. So it's not like they. And what I mean by ROM dump, it's not like they just took the ROMs as is and they're like, there you go, good luck loading them up. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that there'll be a fuck up on nursing homes where old people like us? And I'm saying that to keep it family friendly.
Mm-hmm.
God, that's Atari. Yeah. Like, in an old folks home, they just, that's funny. That would be.
I mean, that they might actually have something like that, right?
Yeah. But so like there is there is a way, like right now, if you want to, like, if you're willing to spend $100, depending, like $50 to $100, and you're like, hey, I just want to decently be able to play a lot of ROMs on a device, you can get something like an Amber. There are solutions out there that will come with the ROMs, maybe too many ROMs, it won't be as curated. So that kind of exists, and it's maybe sort of you have ownership because they're on that card, but it's not anything licensed and official. So it's not going to give you the nostalgia feeling of popping in a cart, but just kind of like a good examples with me, like with Spotify. Like for me, I don't care if like listening to music, I just want access to like any music, basically any music I want anytime without ads. And so I'm willing to pay like $15 a month for like a family account. But there are people like, no, I want my vinyl. I want to be able to touch it. And I get and I respect that too. So I think it depends on the person. Like, do you need the vinyl equivalent, or are you just happy with like a streaming service?
Mm-hmm.
Then,
I mean, and then there is something to be said about people that want that kind of physical aspect. But at the same time, for me, I think it's more. I mean, yes, I want the cartridges. I mean, obviously, I collect Evercade, but if it came down to it, if there was an easy way to legally own just all of these different ROMs, like a Steam or something like that, and you could just collect them at will, maybe that would be the thing, right? Because if it was ease of access where I could go in, if there was an app, for example, that I could put on my Atari VCS or my Polymega and my phone and my computer, and a modern gaming system, and then have access to my library all over the place all the time.
Yeah.
That would be it. That might kill me I'd still collect Evercade until they stop making cartridges just to collect them at that point. But that would be it. I would go to whatever that system was and just start playing my games there.
See, that would kind of be the thing. Like, there would need to be some mechanism, like, at least if it's on Steam. But to your point, I think it'd be cooler. Like you could do that. You could play it on your phone. You could play it on any device.
Yeah.
So that you could integrate.
Yep.
Little Johnny, let me tell you about the first time that I fought Donkey Kong. Kind of going back to the nuring home thing.
Yeah, that's like, great game. The Donkey Kong isn't real.
Yeah. Here's a good example, and kind of going back. I know why Amber's asking me for like a recent price. So when I did first start streaming, they asked me about like the Neo Geo Pocket Color Collection, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's on Steam, and it's great that they have that, but they have two volumes. Like they want 40, like for retail, they want $40 for each, for each volume, or maybe one of them is like 30. And to me, that's freaking ridiculous. I mean, I think you do get the best games, but in the Super Pocket, Neo Geo Super Pocket is cool, but that's too much. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I could see that.
You know what I mean?
But at the same time, it's like, there's only the library of Neo Geo Pocket is under 50, I think.
It is. It is. So, But the competition is only for, like, if you want something official, easy to load. Like, to me, both of those, like, those collections should be like $10 a piece. And so
I mean, maybe now, yeah, because it's been a while.
And that's what I mean for something like that. I'm like, so it does kind of go back to saying you should support, but like my whole thing is that then you either wait for those to like to go on sale for $5, or you just like load up MU Deck and play them on your Steam Deck and just don't tell anybody. But see, like, and I'm comparing that to something like Atari 50. Like and maybe it's unfair, but I'm like, dude, that's not just a ROM dump. That's like learn about Atari. So it's like,
that was really, really well done.
It's a full documentary. Plus, there are games that are just a ROM dump to play on, which is great. And then there was like remasters of games. So I'm like, come on now, that's like, and actually that isn't fit. There's like 40 or 45. So like that is like a great value. Like you're getting a lot, and as you're learning about the different games from the eras, you can play it right there. So it's you know what I mean. It's not just a ROM dump that they're.
You're right. Yep.
But so that's where I think I have a problem too with collections if they're just a ROM dump, because even with Blaze, I always say you're competing. You're competing with free. Mm-hmm. So and I think they do a good job. So yeah, it's just it's a balance. It's a balance for both. Listen, the new Geo Pocket was awesome. I keep calling it Super Pocket. Sorry, back in the day. Yeah, that happens. How it happens. Only armed with a hammer. Imagine if we were kids, some of the arcades said we would have every arcade at home and it will fit into a wireless phone. You can make. Yeah, I know. Yeah. Kind of like when teachers would say, like, you'll never have like a calculator on your arm or in your pocket. Like, really, we have a whole computer. So yeah.
Yep. Yeah, and that computer is just ridiculously powerful.
Yeah. No, it's funny because I think if I could go to Ed back in time and be like, hey, here's this box that can play everything you want. It's like, oh my god, like just like hand yourself like a Mister or just any of those like devices or anything.
Oh, actually, speaking of that, and having things in your hand all the time, iOS users got another emulator today.
Oh, they did.
Yeah, the Gamma emulator is now available on iOS. It is the PS1 emulator.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Apparently, it's not as good. I mean, because people loved the convenience of Delta, where you could just simply drop a zip file in and then load your game. People are getting confused with the bin.q files because obviously they're CD-based games. And I think Gamma only uses bin.q, and some of these games are huge, so they don't like putting these massive games on their phone. But I'm going to check it out.
Here's like my only issue for me, like with playing any games on mobile devices, for me personally, like only something like RPGs are playable just because of the touch controls.
Yep.
Or like Crow always says, you could pop in one, but then like if you pop in a device where you have controls on your phone, that's great. But then you also have to carry that, so it kind of defeats the purpose. Because I really want to like touch controls. I've done that before. I've loaded up and then I get in and I play a game and I'm like, that's why I say RPGs. Like if you want to play Pokemon or Final Fantasy, like
right, yeah,
like Final Fantasy Tactics or something, like that's fine. But although something like Crazy Taxi, like if you buy like the remove, if you get like the paid for one or even the one with ads, that game works because they did kind of custom controls where you just move left. So you know what I mean? It just like with like a phone game, if it's a game that was designed around the touch controls, that's fine. But with with like emulation, you can't. Catch up with the chat. Did you guys as kids see the newest game systems and be like the graph? Yes. Okay. Can't get any better than this. Yes, Amber. What's funny about that? I remember being that way with Nintendo. And then, like, I'm like, oh, like if you're never going to be able to get really good graphics or arcade graphics. That's for arcade. We're never going to get that at home. And that's funny you mentioned that because to me, like, I want to say for me, and maybe I think a lot of you may agree with this, but like, as far as like seeing like a new console or new upgrade, like seeing the Super Nintendo because of the vast difference, like for me, that was like the most memorable of like any time where I've seen like when a new console has come out and it really felt like it was an upgrade.
Yeah.
Like because, and I think that was, like, okay, great. The PS5 has come out. Well, yeah, it looks a little bit better than the PS4. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, yeah, that's a new PS5.
Yeah. I mean, I know people might disagree with me vehemently about this, but I even feel that way about the PS3, Xbox 360 generation all the way up to PS5.
Yeah.
I know, yes, 4K is a thing and 60 FPS is a thing and it matters to people and all that kind of stuff. But I think that there are still games in the PS3 era that could have released on PS5 and people would still say that they're gorgeous.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I know. There's it's like far and few between. Kind of reminds me of like the Resident Evil for GameCube. Like the grab, there's like Soul Calibur for Dreamcast. Like usually there's always like some system where they push it to the limits.
There's some tentpole games, Gran Turismo, for example.
Yes.
Yep.
That's because your computer took up a whole room back then. That's great. Think of the computer tech will be going on the moon.
Yeah, man.
Amber, yes, it was with Star Wars on SNES. Yeah. Oh, dude. I remember. Yeah. I think it was Empire Strikes Back. Great gap. But like, oh my god, that game was as fun as it was frustrating. It was a challenge.
It was really challenging. But this Super Star Wars, like, I still to this day, like, they nailed the MIDI soundtrack on that game. They just nailed it.
Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah. No, it was. I was an Amiga snob. I think you touch it. Oh yeah. You know what?
A lot of people like that.
Batman for NES, yes, and even like Ninja Gaiden back then.
Yep.
Those.
Yep. Oh, speaking of that game and phone controls, I was recently able to get all the way up to 4-1 on Ninja Gaiden on my phone.
Damn.
Yeah, man.
Dude, you should get like an award for that. That's like it's tough.
Well, it should send a screenshot to Arcus. He's like, I'm coming for you.
I really want to like phone controls, but it just maybe I don't know. Maybe the old man in me is just like it doesn't feel. I don't know.
Yeah, man.
I remember seeing Genesis and the bet. That was window displaying Altered Beast and couldn't believe the graphics. To me, it looked just like but Altered Beast was a great arcades is arcade. Yeah, no, we always do that. No, that was one of the impressive things. About the Genesis at the time. That was one of their selling points. Yep, Rich knows. We're not worried. Oh, so okay, I had to make it 5. So but retired. So what was great? Modern Vintage Gamer put out a video where he talked about where he said like Doom didn't kill the Amiga. Wolfenstein 3D did, and what I thought was fascinating. Well, what I about the Amiga is that like it could do it could do 3D, but it couldn't do like chunky 3D. And just like you basically had to have like even with like the higher end ones like couldn't run it properly, and those were like the really like Wolfenstein 3D was like super and Doom, those were like a really popular game, but especially Wolfenstein 3D at the time. And you had like I think like later they've made ports back, but no, and like what's interesting about that is like at least like I can say like here like in the US. Like back then, like using the command line in general, I think was just a little bit daunting. But at least DOS was something like more familiar. So like I could see like and I never even heard of like an Amiga, but but like just remember on DOS you could just type in Doom, boom, you could type in like Wolf 3D or 3D Wolf, and it would start up.
Yeah.
It's a shame that never like took off. That like took off here, but check out his video. It kind of talks about like why like yes, if you like, unless you're somebody who could like. Buy the highest end Amiga, then it can run it. But like nobody was going, nobody was really going to it. Like some game, there were like a bunch of other different clones, or some of them they could run like the postage stamp. But the way the architecture just wasn't designed to have like 3D chunky graphics, so it's gonna which is kind of funny.
She was putting out codes.
Last time I played my ROMs, it was tremendously difficult. Dude, it's difficult normally. Cinemaware, yeah. Yeah, that's true. IDDQD,
yeah. IDKFA.
But it was interesting with like computers and stuff because like I'm pretty sure everything he had was DOS, or he had like it was neat kind of seeing like that next like generation graphics and even CD-ROMs and other things. But it was just kind of neat, and like with the King's Quest and Sierra, I appreciated that. But then I appreciated like the simplicity of like a console. You just put in the cart and it works. So it's it goes both ways. But I remember though getting more into PC gaming, it was neat having access to play more games, and in addition to buying games, also pirating games. It's like, yeah. You know, just having more access to play stuff, or like I remember, like actually, like Dark Forces back then, you didn't once you installed it, you didn't need to have the CD afterwards, so you could like borrow it from a friend.
Right.
But yeah, kind of, yeah. I love the kind of topic that you came up with, Rich. Kind of going back, that it's a shame that like if you want to like own stuff like legit,
yeah,
you won't be able to. Or I mean. And the way that's kind of like also no different than like Evercade cards going legacy, where like, yeah, you're going to pay an obscene price, or you know, you're not going to be able to find it just to play ROMs or games or whatever in that way. Yes, you know, so it's
people are awfully angry about that too.
Yeah,
like that. I mean, I get the frustration, but the other part of it is, like a lot of people place so much onus on Blaze as like the overarching thing, but they're not the publishers of these games. They're recreating these collections to put out, but yeah, that's right. But
here's what people's frustration are, and I totally get it. It's like you buy into the Evercade ecosystem because the cards are like $20 or whatever, depending on the currency, or like they're relatively cheap, and so you're like, okay, I want to capture the nostalgia, I want to have the physical cards. So I understand people's frustration to where, because they bought into this cheaper ecosystem, now they want to be able to play those cards on it. Or what if something, God forbid, something happens and your card dies, and so what I would do, but like, I agree with you about it's not Blaze's fault in that, but I kind of wonder, like, could Blaze make a statement and say something like, hey, or at least poll people, like, if you could buy Pico 1 and these games were missing, would you still be interested?
Yeah. You know what? I think people would be like, yes. I think absolutely people would sign up for it. If that was an option.
I would even be fine with if it was a re-release, like Pico was whatever number. I would be fine if they re-released it. And they said, like, now comes a different game. So essentially, it's the same thing, and maybe they give different game. We would all probably buy it again. I would be fine with that too, to make it.
And you're right. I mean, the thing is, if they replace the games, I would confirm buy. Like if oh hey, Pico 1 original 09 had these titles. There were 20 games, and then here's new Pico 1 that has all these other titles plus 2 or 3 that we never released. I'd buy the card again. I would buy the card again.
I'd say retire Pico.
Yeah.
No,
the
the
problem is, though, Pico continues to consume all these old properties. So eventually you wind up running out of properties to go after because Pico has them all. They're becoming what is it, that the embracer? They're becoming the embracer of retro.
Yes. Here's something that I wanted to bring up or ask on Pico, because I mentioned this in the last Evercast. So I think here's what I think the biggest issue with Pico is that back, when we had the OG handheld and we had the first 10 collections, nobody knew if that was going to be it for Evercade, right? We didn't, or like when Lynx came out, we didn't even know if it was going to get beyond 20. So
right.
What I'm thinking at that time, that probably what happened is Pico 1 just said, pick whatever you want. And Blaze was able to cherry pick and put all the best games on, and put all their best games on there. Now what's funny is I jokingly say that like Pico made a deal and they said, okay, you can have access to our full library of games. You just know you got to give us at least 5 collections.
Right.
But the reason that I say that is because I think if Blaze knew that like, hey, this is going to be a stable thing, I think the thing that makes Pico weaker is the fact that like all those games are in one collection. I think what would have made the Pico collection stronger is if those games were like mixed. You know what I mean? Like if everything was like mixed in across 4 collections, then all 4 of those collections would be like Pico 1, and that you would have several bangers mixed. I think that would have made it stronger, as a whole. But there's no way they can go back and do that.
Right.
So I don't know what I mean. I don't know, what would you think? mean, do you agree? Like, if they did kind of like mix those in, we'd still get all the same games. That like it would give like it'd be different for people's perception. That feel like, oh, okay, I'm buying Pico 3. I'm also now I'm getting some of the other games that weren't on Pico 1, where my brain is going blank.
I mean,
so yeah,
yeah, I mean, I think, any way they take care of it, like would be a benefit. But the problem, I guess, would be, can we ever get to a point where it's not just the Pico collections? Can we get all of the legacy cards back somehow? And that's really the
yeah.
And that's I think that's where it becomes. And Ian's actually right there. Like mix them up for a Giga cart. Just put like a mega collection out. That would be kind of cool. But as far as that stuff goes, a lot of that stuff comes down to licensing per game, and people might want too much money, to have a 40 game mega cart, right? That might be too much for Blaze, and then they can't charge $25. You know what I mean? So who knows? Oh, I think you muted again, man.
Thank you. Dang it! I just clicked off of it. But like what I was trying to say, like imagine if like let's say Brave Battle Saga was on like Collection 1.
Yeah.
And then like you didn't let's say you didn't get Water Margin until like Collection 2. Then that like those kind of games would be like worth it just for the collection themselves.
Yeah.
And so like you have that moved out. And then like Iron Command, like you have like Dragon View on a separate collection, and then Iron Commando would have to be on one of those. But I think like if you put like those 3 or 4 games separately, that would have maybe helped a little bit.
Yeah.
But I do like Ian's idea of the license. But I wonder, and maybe it wouldn't be better or not. But like I think the problem is people don't realize that Blaze only has certain control.
Right.
But okay, so here's a great example. Let's say for like the Technos collection, if the reason they lost the license was because of Double Dragon 1 and 2. Well, then a re-release of those games removed would kind of be dumb because those were like probably like the 2 best. You know what I mean?
Those are the reasons why you're getting the cart. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
But for Pico, the reason why Pico 1 went legacy wasn't because of any of that stuff. It was because of Draken.
That's it?
Yeah, it was Draken and Dragon View because that's also known as Super Draken. Atari bought them. So back from Pico. So now that they own those titles, you can't continue to have a license under somebody else's property. You know what I mean? And that's what did it.
Yeah. See, thank you. Thank you, Sucker MC. So then, why can't they just like add that extra? Why can't they just put like greatest hits on it and swap out a few games?
You could do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you for joining us, Mr.
Yeah,
Chua,
thanks, Mr. Chua. See you, man.
Yeah, and that's like that. I believe Blaze does have control over because clearly there's a lot of like.
Well, it depends on their licensing, though. If the agreement was for those games on this cart for this period of time, then they don't have control. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If it was licensed to print as many of those titles in any order on any cart, then yes, they could do that.
Yeah.
But it's all based on the agreement.
Yeah, but I agree. But I 100% agree with you. But being that Pico is Pico, that they'll like license anything to anybody. I think couldn't they renegotiate?
They could.
License, yeah. That's all.
Yeah. Yeah, because
like,
I think something happened on Pico 2 as well, but that's not legacy yet.
No.
I could have sworn. Racing Fever. It was one of those weird games that just got. Maybe it was
because if I'm being honest, I feel like you know more about this than Blaze does.
Football Madness or something like one of these games. Maybe it was a limited or boat duel. Like again, somebody bought something else, off of that, but that hasn't gone legacy yet. Maybe it was because they don't care or there was a pre-arrangement, like that kind of deal. But yeah, I mean, a lot of times though, that's what happens with these games. They change hands between one or the other. The Atari thing though was Atari. Atari was like, hey, it's time for us to sell our own games on our own thing.
Yes, of course.
They very clearly want to sell more of these little handhelds or the base station, the Pro Station thing that they sold for $100 last summer. That's why there's no Evercade carts, because they have their own plug and play thing. So I get that they wanted to pursue it. I don't think it worked out for Atari, to be honest. Some people liked it, but now I'm seeing on the Atari Age forums and on Facebook and stuff like that, and some of the Facebook groups, people are going to Costco and be like, "Oh, hey, look, here's the $100 or $120 game station thing. It's $60 at Costco." You know what I mean? So,
Actually, I'm very curious to see, because not only that, but I want to say there's probably all the collections is probably there's probably more Atari ones, just because that was packed in with the original console.
Yeah, it came with everything.
Yeah, I can even remember seeing it even seeing that on Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
You can buy that as a standalone. I'm just so curious what that's going for on eBay. So here's, let me share this. So here's kind of the difference is that, so you have, yes, $30, $39, $34, is still more than it should be, but it's not being sold. But if somebody really wants Atari 1, that's a better, fine, $30. That's better than paying $400 for Technos 1. You know what I mean? That's
yeah. Some of those other cartridges get a little ridiculous, but
65. Because the thing I would love to, because I could guarantee you that if they came out with a Pico 1 Greatest Hits, let's say if they just re-released it, let's say if they could renegotiate a license and just remove those two games, I could almost guarantee you people would rather pay, who don't have it, $20 for that than pay $400 just for those two games. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Even if they didn't replace them.
Yeah. Well, and when we were talking about the cost of what some of these bigger collections or whatever, the more sought after collections, I'm staring right now at 2 copies of Technos 1. You know what I mean? Do I think I have $700 on my shelf? No, I don't. But it's weird that the market responds that way sometimes. You know what I mean?
Yeah. One day Amazon will purchase. Man, there's a lot of hate for Pico. I'll be curious to see how my poll does this Saturday, because I put I did that with Pico or C64, and and I said the one I said the one that you pick, it won't erase the current collections, but let's say if you're voting for Pico, you would never get any new C64 collections, and vice versa. I was just curious to see which did
C64 win.
Actually, we can see. Yeah, we can definitely see where they're. Where they're at.
Take a live look.
Oh, okay. You know what? I know why Ballistic Coffee Boy is in here.
Ballistic Coffee Boy is where?
He's live. He's live right now in She-Line Gaming, because I just went to go to my community tab, and I see Atari podcast special.
Okay.
Yeah, he's live on her channel. So I'm
nice.
Okay. Yeah, because I was no, he should be here. I'll have to check that out later. But yeah, let me go. Okay, so I don't want to. I won't. Wow. Okay, no, fine. I will. I will share it. So, I know that this is okay. Forewarning. I did not vote on this. This is the community. Don't get upset at me, because I can see some people may not like this. Some people may not. Yeah. Pico is at 79% and C6. I'm
70 votes.
Yes,
70 votes,
and that's from one day. One day ago, dude.
That's awesome.
Yeah, people are. It's funny, wow. See, and it's I know there's a lot of hate for Pico and all that, but
if you want Pico to lose, you have to put it up against Konami.
Right. So yeah, I was no, yeah, that'll still come back. Actually, it was, I think, yeah, Pico was crushing. Yeah, I think Sucker MC. You were You were the one that you suggested to put that poll together, and I like that. I'm like, you know what? So yeah, so shout out to him.
Nice.
It's MC's fault. No, but I thought it was a great idea. I'm like, that's a good one because I feel like that is something that divides the community. Where either you really like Pico and don't like C64, or vice versa, and there's people that don't like either one. So it's So like, and I could have said this before. So here's kind of my like, let's say like my stance on something like Pico or C64 versus like getting a Konami collection, right? So both as far as like the nostalgia collections like Sunsoft and Pico and Pico and C60 like both need to exist. And that's and because there's two different, I think there's two different types of people, like, and I'll kind of go, and I've said this before, kind of goes back to when I was getting into Evercade. I saw like the nostalgia, like, oh, I saw Atari, I saw Data East, I saw Technos, I saw Namco, and then I was like, ooh, and then I saw Lynx. I was like, hey, that's like to get an actual cart and not emulate it, like that's the closest you're going to get to buying a. So what sucked me into Evercade definitely was the nostalgia. Like, let's say I didn't buy it because of Pico. Like, I'm like, who's Pico? But while I was there, then you want the discovery and you want those oddball games, and then like Pico and Mega Cats was like, oh my god, you know what I mean? So that's why I say they both need to exist. It's just the problem is you're not going to buy an Evercade from just some unknown publisher unless you're one of those individuals that's specifically looking for that. But they do need to be there because after a while, if it's like once you run out of like the standard publishers, then what else is? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's why I say I think I like they're both equally important. Because I will say with C6 with all the collections except maybe Gremlin and Worms, I felt like for $20 there was at least a couple games that I really liked that made it worth it for me. Yeah. And technically, even those like Gremlin and Worms, especially Gremlin, was an experience in itself. So that's what's interesting. I think what, and I understand this. I think what bothers people more because it's not because they won't buy those collections, right? But I think what it more of is like, hey, this is taking up the place of like that arcade cart that I really want, and I get that. You know what I mean? Like it's like so I totally see both sides of it. But there needs to be an equal balance of both. I mean, even like the latest like C64, I've had a blast with Jumpman. Like that, I think was my favorite game on the cart. And the Jumpman Junior, I should say. And it's like, yeah, you could download the ROM and play it, but then it's like I wouldn't have known to do that. No. You know what I mean? I wouldn't have actively. So some of it is, hey, you're paying for the curation. There's still some fun to have other games. Like Tomb Raider is a great example. Like I'm really looking forward to that, and I can't wait to play all those 3 games. But I wouldn't have just thought, oh, do I really want to, download? Is that something that I want to explore on my own and play and fire up a ROM? I could, but having something official, having all 3 of them on one cart, there's just something super cool about that makes it more fun. So, I do hope they can improve the load times. Like I think when you first played like Sunsoft 2 collection, I counted for it to like load from 0 to 20 Mississippis.
That was pretty wild.
And when I did a save state, it added it took 22 seconds. Like it didn't it didn't speed it up at all. Anyway. Once you get into the game, it's fine. But that's something with some. But what's weird though is that like Super Pocket loads everything instantly. So whatever programming or security that's on like the VS and like the XP, like it's it's making it take longer. So I hope they.
That's interesting.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, they just moved the needle up. Yeah, I need a needle up on C64. So yeah, that's cool. And listen, even though like that game, I'm still a little bit like not used to the controls, still a little frustrated in the tutorial. I think it's great that we got that, and importantly, I think it's great that Blaze like removed the tutorial character and put Katie in there, which is kind of neat.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, so I will go back and oh my God, Amber, yes, Zookeeper. Yeah, no, what's funny about that is I agree. Like the first thing, like when once like a while back, Crow had like mentioned about that game and all that. He was like shocked that wasn't on Taito. I'm like, I agree. Like I would have thought. Yeah, and like we need something like.
Yeah, why wasn't it on Super Pocket? Yeah.
Yeah, and that's one of the other nice things about Evercade is they try to get games that are unknown or prototype and unfinished. Yeah, that should totally be there. Yeah, I know Immortal exactly. Like Zookeeper, it's really fun. It's definitely challenging.
Yes. Alice is over 200 HP.
Woohoo!
Loving it. Mayo's knocking on the door. Odin, Noah. Noah hit 20. Yeah, level 24 for Alice. That's 6 more levels till max.
Sweet.
Because you can only get to level 30 in this game.
Yeah, that's right.
And
So
Odin, Noah's level 20, but it doesn't show you the. It doesn't show you the.
That's right, Phantom.
It doesn't show you the last spell, but Noah has Rise.
Okay, I'll go back. You said you read that too fast. Fine. No, I'll go back. No, so you're saying hopefully we'll get some arcade goodness this year. It has been a minute.
Yeah, it has. Yeah, and they're guaranteed to have at least one. So
I hope so.
Well, they came out and said like it will be one.
Well, that's right. They did. Okay, yeah. So at least that.
All right, so we got to see
if they, what. If they did like a physical Taito and they threw Zookeeper on there and they put in all the other games or cut a few games, like I'd be fine with that because then I could play that on the VS and whatever else.
Yeah.
That's the other, so Rich, that's the other thing I forgot to say about the dock. Like, what would be super cool? Like, I mean, pretty much like because when after like Pete had to go, me and Crow were talking, and he's and I agree with him. He was like, you would have to work with the standard EXP and the EXPR because that would kind of be dumb if it if it didn't, even though the EXP has HDMI, but then if you wanted to play like Street Fighter or something, you could plug in like an arcade stick.
Yeah.
And really be able to do that. But I was like, I doubt that they would do this, but I'm like, what if you could also plug in like Super Pockets? Like, oh my God, that would be
cool. That
would be super cool. What if Evercade did monthly game competitions, old school gamers compete live? You compete for and love of high scores. So like, that is interesting. I mean, they do have like Katie's challenges and stuff like that. But I've been saying that for the longest time. If they could get at least something built into the Evercade, but you know what? That is true. Technically, there's nothing to prevent them from like hosting like live events.
Absolutely.
And stuff. Yeah. And
have something. And the cool thing about Evercade is that you could actually bring your own hardware, so they could show up at pretty easily at any convention, get a table, run an event, have people bring their EXPs, and then have a couple on the side in case people want to participate that don't have the hardware. Then you're getting the hardware in the hands of people that haven't played, that are into retro. Then they're introduced to the world of Evercade. They get in at the ground level at the con, buy some stuff, and then they're in the ecosystem. Yeah, that'd be great. And then they could have like cool little prizes that are Evercade specific. Put out Evercade swag on the table. Yeah, man. They could do it.
Yeah, totally agree. I think the only thing, which is one of the things that's great about Blaze, that they are like a UK-based company, but then the downside is it's going to cost them, like to be able to travel to the United States. You know what I mean?
Well, that's for some of those things in the US thing, like I've mentioned it before. Like some of the East Coast shows, I've been just itching for an excuse to go. And well, if they were too strapped to figure out a way to go to some of these East Coast cons, but wanted presence there, I wouldn't object to helping them out in that capacity. You know what I mean?
Well, it's funny
because be their ambassador or whatever.
Well, they could even just say, "Hey, there's this like con coming up. We'll send you, we'll ship out to you some Evercades, and some swag." With some swag to give away, keep a shirt for yourself. You can keep the leftover hardware. We'll pay for you to go to. That would still be a lot cheaper.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because you would hit up that area. Yeah, I would hit up some areas in Texas. Like I would be down for that.
Yep.
And it wouldn't even cost them. I mean, maybe like let's say I think depending, it wouldn't even cost them like $1,000. Like they could so that's it would be neat to reach out and do that, and we could even stream live there from our channels and get there's things that they could do. A matter of fact, another awesome thing they could do with that is some of the bigger YouTubers, let's say like Metal Jesus, who they've reached out to, they could say, well, Ed and Rich is being down here at the local convention, would you maybe mind popping in their stream for 5 minutes and just
Yep.
stuff like that. So that would be pretty. that would be pretty neat. No, I hear what you're saying to go down, but it would be neat to have something officially sent. Like they would like send send us like the standees and like stuff to give away. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah. Make a presence. Do whatever.
Yeah. And be like, this is the official Evercade booth, and then we would totally do that, and then it would. I mean, hell, technically, if they didn't give us anything, we would do that. But just the fact that hey, here's some stuff for appreciation. Oh,
yeah.
Okay, so that's I know we're running out of time.
Yeah.
Dude, like I've gotten through like 35, 40 minutes of summoning
salt. Oh.
And what's so great? I'm so glad that documentary is 2 hours because I kind of knew, like, before, like the current methods, I knew about like hyper tapping.
Mm-hmm.
But what I didn't know about that he talked about, that there was a time where people were just trying to get 99999 and max out the scores.
Mm-hmm.
And people were like having to manually calculate it, and then there was like a Game Genie code that you could use that would it would change like the first digit, like hexadecimal, to make it easier. And even though people couldn't get past level 29, it was like, how much farther can you go? So then they'll get into the other the sliding methods. But it's what I'm hoping. I wonder if towards the end, if somebody did get to level 255, because I saw there's another Tetris channel where I've seen some stuff about about that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, higher scores than I could ever imagine if they had monthly competitions online live. Yeah. So funny that you mentioned that, Amber, is that if they just had online leaderboards, would be freaking fantastic. If they just if they did something very basic and said we're gonna have an online leaderboard for Donut Dodo,
mm-hmm.
we would all champion that, and then all Blaze would have to do is just be like, if they would even work with us and just say, hey, at this date at this time, here's going to be a competition. Like, we would totally host that on our channels.
Yep.
Like, it would be even minimal effort, whether Blaze sanctioned it or not. We would do that if they had some on. I want the bragging rights to for something like Donut Dodo, or whatever, just to be like the best in the Evercade community. Like, I would love to have those bragging rights.
Yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be really cool.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's reasons why and not. Like, I get they have to get, and I'm hoping at some point we at least get some type of leaderboards, or if I think even if they had the Katie's challenges, if it was built into the firmware and you downloaded a new one and you didn't have to own the carts and they had to program it so it was just specific for that one game.
Man. I've seen some of these kids. They do all sorts of crazy stuff now.
Yeah. And that's why, at some point, that's why, I need just to get within the top 10 on speedrun.com for Donut Dodo. I think technically one of mine might have been 10, but I need to get at least 8 under that. Just so just because it can say device played on an Evercade. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Ooh, I would like to see
that would be great. That's what we need to get some.
Well, we could
thingies.
We could do that on Steam. We could do that on Steam for sure.
We could. Yeah, we should do that.
We just have to pick a game.
Yeah.
And do 2 players.
We could definitely set some of that stuff up. That would be nice.
I think the latest Contra. I don't know if you can do co-op. I think you can.
Oh, maybe. Yeah.
Which actually, no. Thanks to Amber. I like that game more than I thought. What I will say real quick is that you can customize it so that instead of having health, you can have lives.
Oh, okay.
You can have one hit death, and I did that. And you do get some perks, but you can choose a retro 8-bit soundtrack. You can also choose a Castlevania soundtrack, but nice. I hate that once you start a game, you can't change that. And I don't know if it'll let me have multiple saves. That, and the other thing I want to say too is that I couldn't stand starting the story mode because it was way too much of the tutorial. But you can just do the arcade mode, which kind of removes that. So you can kind of make it a newer kind of spiced up Contra, which is kind of neat. But yeah, something we'll have to look at some of our games and maybe do a 2-player co-op.
Yeah, I wonder if Godshard will let you do it online. It's the game I backed on Kickstarter.
Ooh.
I wonder if I know it's local. I know they do local co-op, but let me check it out.
Co-op RPG, yeah. Yeah. That would be cool. We could definitely do that. I'm sure. I know you could do like also like emulation, but that's using emulation. But that's a little bit more of a pain. But yeah, no, we could definitely do something like that.
Well, there's some stuff you can do too on well, actually, the guys that did the PyPacker thing, jam.gg, apparently they're back with a different model, and then allows you to do some of that stuff where you can do two player like classic games, which would be kind of cool.
How about this? Do you think?
Oh, local co-op. Okay.
Do you think we can say once we hit like 500 subs, we'll do some form of co-op?
I think so. I think we should do that.
I think we could put ourselves on the hook for that. Yeah.
I think we could definitely do that. So yeah, everybody else in the ether finding this on replay, hit the buttons. Make us do co-op.
Yeah. We'll find some way to do that, whether it's through Steam or whatever.
Yeah. But as of right now, I have the ability to get the diamond armor, the ice vehicle, so I think this is the last or second to last vehicle in the game. And then we're about to go get some of the last armor and weapons in the game. And then we have to do the dungeons on Palma, and we're done. We're very close. We're very close. That was an awesome grind, though. 2 hours getting level 24 on Alice, and everybody's above 20 now, and 27,000 Mercedes. So nice. It's very, very good. I'm liking it. So Evercast maybe is playing Shredder's Revenge in the respective. That'd be funny.
That would be.
That'd be hilarious. It'd be good times. That'd be good times. But it's also been 2 hours. We've passed the 2 hours, so now we're at pumpkin time for me. So
get us to 500 subs. See what cool memberships we have to offer for things, and we'll do co-op. It'll all be awesome.
And we'll do all sorts of other awesome things. It'll be very cool. So, but I think we're good to go there. I'm sure there's more fun goodness over on Edge channel coming soon. Over on my channel, yes, the triumphant return of content after crazy stuff will be on its way. We're going to start off with probably some Atari VCS goodness, and then we're going to go for some more stuff. Little breaks here and there because, of course, I'll be out Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday of the coming week here. So we'll try to get something out for Wednesday, and maybe I'll try to pre-record one or two or something like that. And then, you bop on over to Ed's for the Evercast on Saturday. I might wave from afar, maybe hop in the chat or something like that while I'm over in the CA. And then that's it. We'll see you again for another card soon.
Yeah, no, I was going to say channel members have already watched it, but otherwise, for everyone else tonight at midnight will be the game of the month. John Hancock's game.
Yeah, so. Block'em Sock'em.
Yes,
actually, Fun for 5 that game already on the 7800, as it had its 7800 release on the Atari VCS. I thought it was pretty cool.
I purposely had to not watch that until I could play it, so I wouldn't be influenced.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. So anyway, thanks everyone. Thanks, awesome chat tonight. It was slamming. So thanks everyone that's here. Phantom, Immortal Surgeon, Sucker MC, Ian Hobbies, Amber. What's going on? Good stuff. Thank you guys all so much for hanging out and talking with us. And until next time, we'll catch you right here on Calling Our Retro Gamers. I'm Rich. He's Ed. And we're out. See ya.
Calling all Retro Gamers!
This concludes our broadcast day. Click.